Hey, what's up everyone? Your community manager here, KL Smith, joined by Nathan Mooney and new guest, Billy Rivers, one of our designers. Today we are going to talk Paragon. GRIM.exe is being released tomorrow. We're going to talk about the update. We're going to walk through with Billy and some of our effects and concept and modeling folks here in the building. We're going to go through the whole gamut with Grimm, talk about all of his abilities and design. We also have two special guests here today, Ari and Austin. That's TripleWRECK and FizZoR.
Both of them.
Both of them. Two
They're
this
both
week.
here.
That's true.
Nice. So they will be streaming for about 2 hours after the stream, showing off some gameplay. They're going to be playing with our comp QA team. So it should be a fun-filled day. Excuse me, lots of GRIM.exe discussion going on, and I'm pretty excited.
I'm very excited. Honestly.
Yeah, I know. I know. You were pretty hyped before the stream.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating
I'm trying to keep
something off the wall with you.
I'm trying to keep like a standard level of hype throughout the stream rather than just like starting small.
Right.
Ending big. You just like keep standard hype throughout the whole stream, so that way it's balanced.
Okay.
Right.
Billy.
Speaking of balance, what's going on? How you guys doing?
How you feeling being on the stream for the first time?
I'm feeling pretty good. That's good. I'm glad that we can talk to the community about GRIM.exe and all of this fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get started, let's talk about some of the stuff that, if you've missed the stream first time tuning in, some of our previous streams. The most recent one was about 2 weeks ago now. We did the big Reddit AMA live broadcast where we had several members of the dev team. I think it was 9 in total, plus a couple others that were on the actual Reddit AMA thread, answering questions. We went through a wide variety of topics.
It's like everything across the road.
Game
from, like,
balance,
art,
lore.
Yeah.
We dropped a lore tidbit out. Steve came up and said basically that Twin Blast and Gadget at one point in time were an item.
Yeah.
It was
that was juicy.
Yeah, it was.
That was all over the internet as soon as we dropped that information.
I did see a couple posts. I saw a couple.
I think I saw
posts.
the Paragon tabloids pick that up.
This guy. So we talked about lore. We talked a lot about hero and gameplay balance. If you missed that, we have the archive. We did it in 3 sections. So we talked a lot about card system, new features in the first portion of that. The second portion was a lot of art and a little bit of design, but mostly art. And then the last one was UI, gameplay balance, hero balance. Highly advise checking it out if you've not. If you have any questions about what's coming up in the pipeline, what we're working on, how the team kind of thinks about gameplay and hero balance, a lot of stuff is in the works. We alluded to some of the balance changes that are actually coming this week.
Yeah,
talking about some of the supports, and then tanks are coming.
Yeah, we kind of talked about like how we were grouping balance passes and like how the patches are kind of coming out. Like balance hitting some updates we wanted to do, like how we had the move speed before, and then like hero balance, hero releases.
Right.
Kind of talking about the philosophy behind the passes themselves, like addressing supports and seeing what we were going to change about them, how each felt.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, we have the playlist up on YouTube. I think I'd check it out. Just, like, it answers most of the general questions about where everything kind of is on the roadmap going forth, and, like, seeing what we're going to release in the future.
A lot of stuff. That's on youtube.com/Paragon. You guys can find that if you're interested in checking out the AMA. Some other updates for community stuff. We have a new hero race for GRIM.exe that will come tomorrow with tomorrow's update. So Hero Race, as you guys know, is kind of a community-centric event where we reward players that get their master skins first. This time we're changing it up. A lot of this change is based on community feedback that we received. Most of it was, what we saw during the actual announcement of the event, and then while players were participating in it for Iggy's release. This week, some of the main changes that we're doing are we're kind of not making it so top heavy with the rewards. So we have basically allowed the first 10 finishers in a week time span. So it's going to start tomorrow, which is May 10th. It's going to end in 1 week on May 17th. So if you get your master skin in between that time, if you're one of the first 10 to finish, and only 10 need to finish actually, it actually unlocks reputation, 15,000 reputation for the entire community. So
Whole
that's
community.
that's something that we want to kind of move towards going forward, is having you guys be able to cheer on other folks and really pump them up and allow them to basically benefit the entire community. So if you're one of the 10 finishers, we're hoping it's 10. If we get the 9 on May 10th, or I'm sorry, May 17th, we can't award 15,000. It has to be 10 players.
Rally together.
Rally together as a community. 10 players will unlock 15,000 rep for the entire community.
Yes.
Those top 10 finishers, if they finish in a week's time, will also receive an additional 10,000 reputation with this new version of Hero Race. Now we're going to keep iterating on it just like we do with the game. Lots of feedback has gone into this one, so we're going to try to continue improving it for early access. And shout out to the top 3 finishers. We have Beacon, Afaso, TMO. Congratulations, guys. They got their prizes the first time anyone has done the Hero Race, hopefully not the last. And as always, the top player, the first one to get it, will be in the Hall of Fame, which will be live here very soon. Last thing we want to hit before we talk about Grimm are the build updates that are on their way. We have, with tomorrow, new ways to earn cards.
Card acquisition, the support balance pass, and then we're looking into the account progression rewards as well. We're like kind of looking at revamping that with how rewards are given out as your account.
Yes. So with the new ways to earn cards, you guys can actually look at the release notes right now on the website.
Live.
They're live. So we are making milestone rewards, more or less, where at 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, I believe, you will earn reputation guaranteed. I believe it's 18,750 reputation that you'll unlock at those levels. We're also changing around card packs and deck slots. We're moving more card pack rewards earlier up, and deck slot rewards will come later. So it makes more sense, right, to have card packs and then create decks. So those are some shifts that are happening now. As a part of this change, we know there's some people that have already reached these milestones, level 10, 20, 30. I think I'm sitting at 37.
Nice, very impressive.
Where are you at, Mooney?
Where
you at, Mooney?
14.
It comes out.
I'm starting to grind now. I
I'm a better
bought my
player than
30-day
Mooney now.
boosts, man.
What happened to your hair? It's growing back.
It's growing back. I'm slowly gaining I'm acquiescing power now. I'm slowly getting back to my final form. And once I get there, everybody
Maybe then you'll pass me. No, you probably won't.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, if you reach those milestone rewards, we're going to be retroactively rewarding you reputation. So if you've hit between level 10 and 19, you'll get 13,500 reputation tomorrow. If you hit between level 20 and 30, you'll get 27,000 reputation. And you've hit between 30 and 50, you're going to receive 40,500 reputation. And this is important because we're going to have new ways to earn cards that are going to come out with this build as well. This is a huge build, guys. So in 2.5, you guys will be able to go to the store. You can purchase weekly cards, which every week we're going to rotate them out. They are guaranteed cards. You will be able to see them before you make the purchase. So you click on it and then they'll pop up. There's affinity-based cards. So you can buy a single affinity-based card if you want to try your hand at getting something, if you play Fury, Heroes, or Order, or Intellect, you can now directly try to get those cards. And then we have universal single cards as well, so or any random cards. So now not only can you have more variety in your purchases, but we've also lowered the cost of the basic 5-pack by 500. So because we've lowered that price, everyone gets a card pack. You get a card pack, and you get a card pack. Everyone gets a card pack. So that is one thing that's happening. And then you can also now buy individual cards for, I believe, 2,250 reputation. That sounds about right. So it's basically after you play a game or two, you can go in and incrementally kind of earn cards. Or you can save up your reputation and then purchase it that way. So lots of changes coming as we work towards card crafting. We want to give you guys more options, and hope you guys will make really good use of that. Last thing I want to hit before we get into GRIM.exe is the support balance pass that's coming. So that includes Muriel, Decker, and Gadget.
Sorry, what was the first hero you said?
Muriel, Decker,
And Gadget.
and Gadget.
Nice.
So just talking very high level, you guys can look at the notes right now. Muriel, we want to kind of rebalance her shields,
Right, yeah.
make it less impactful in battle, but we still want her to be really important if players choose her. You know, being able to support your teammates and help save them, and also engage in fights.
This is like one of those processes where we had to like take in the feedback from the community, how people felt she was being played, and where she excelled. And you got to make sure that you're not just you're not like trying to take away a character's identity when you're balancing them. You got to make sure that you take into account all aspects of how they might be played in one scenario versus another.
Right.
And I think that's the reason we wanted to make sure we took our time and really worked at it and like kind of group them all together.
Right. And Decker, we wanted to kind of increase the appeal of her as a whole in her kit. So you guys will notice some changes to her ultimate. It now increases in duration at 5, 6, 7 when you level them up. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 stages. So it's 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and then 7 seconds when it's all the way max level. We've also increased the AoE, or the stun is now attached to her Q for Stasis Bomb. So if you hit someone with Stasis Bomb and that AoE typically did damage, it now also stuns, so you don't have to necessarily be as accurate.
A little bit more forgiving.
Right.
Used to be a direct hit that did the stun,
Yep.
but now it's a little bit more forgiving. So
Yep.
it's good. More consistent.
Yeah.
You can go for some of those long range, Kobe Qs.
That's right.
Those Kobe Qs.
Yeah.
Is that what you call them?
Kobe Qs, yeah.
Kobe Qs. Do you jump up in the air, then throw your Q?
I yell Kobe every time I use Decker Q, even if it's point blank range.
That's probably why you have not gotten your account further than mine.
Well, I mean, I'm being very patient with my. I have to skill up slowly, like level up slowly, and then I'll just
Right.
just take over the #1 spot.
Right. All right. And then last but not least, we have Gadget. Her kit overall is making her more lethal, kind of lethal in combat. You guys will notice that her sticky mine has been increased in damage. The speed gate changed around a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we took away some of the speed, but also increased the duration that it's out, if I'm not mistaken. And then the last change, I have to actually look on the notes, has to do with her seek and destroy damage has been increased. That's the other one I was thinking of. So hopefully you guys will let us know what feedback you guys are kind of thinking about after this change goes live tomorrow. It'll be early in the morning. Typical build time, so we're definitely looking forward to the changes, and hope you guys will be sure to let us know, kind of how you feel about them. Now, all that being said, gotten that out the way, let's show off the Grimm.exe, GRIM.exe announced trailer, and we're going to talk to Billy about that hero.
Welcome, new owner, to your Sentry Combat Robot. This battle-ready tool is the ultimate addition to your arsenal. Featuring a proprietary renewable energy source, patented defense chassis, and an auxiliary tethered coil control system. The next generation of offensive advancement is here and ready to execute your every command.
Warning, Sentry robot should only be used by trained operators. The owner assumes all responsibility for damage done to beings, places, or property. Please battle responsibly.
All right, so we are back. Billy, first off, that trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
I love it. Love it
Tough.
so much.
The team, that was awesome.
Thanks.
It was awesome. So, Grimm is coming tomorrow. This is the first time we've actually had one of the designers come up and talk about the hero. Billy worked on GRIM.exe. What were some of your basic design goals when you wanted to create Grimm's kit?
So, just looking at him in general, we we had some early inspiration from his concept art, and we really kind of latched onto this, you know, death machine and what this would feel like as a player to play. And so we kind of looked at a few different variations of the design originally, but we kind of wanted to find, you know, find a ranger we could put some utility on him. And so that's kind of where we ended up. So he's got some more utility based on his kit. And we have released his notes, correct? So we can speed it. Okay, great. So he's got more control aspects in his kit, basically, which kind of allow him to be a really powerful duelist. And that's kind of what we wanted to emphasize with him, is his ability to find a single target and kind of stick on them, and they are not going to leave this fight. They're going to die. His Deathbot will take advantage. Okay. So yeah.
All right. So, you know, his kit in general, I think from the very first kind of iteration that I remember up until now, went through a couple different revisions. Can you kind of talk through that a little bit?
So, you know, the process usually starts out with a paper design, and, you know, in this case it was inspired by the concept art. And we iterate on the paper design quite a bit, and we're able to, with our tools, prototype extremely quickly, which is the advantage of using our engine. But we would put together kits based on the paper design, and then try them out in playtests. And if there was a feature that wasn't working, or could potentially have other aspects that could, you know, shake up the gameplay for the rest of the game, there's a few iterations we tried where it's like, this might explode the game. Maybe we shouldn't do this thing. But it was really fun to iterate and try all these different things. And then the kit we landed on, you know, it was still maintaining what we wanted to do with him originally, which was, you know, find a kind of control-heavy shooter, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, my question, we saw the alt in there where his chest kind of opens up. What was kind of like, you know, we'll talk to Mike and Scott more about that, but from your standpoint, when you guys first saw that concept art, what was the, like, hey, was it like, I immediately want to make an ability from kind of looking at how
if he is not shooting something out of his chest.
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, that was definitely a big aspect of it, is when you look at this guy, you just start thinking about the different things he could potentially do. He's got that amazing gun. He's got that giant chest thing. It's like, okay, something's going to be able to shoot out of that. What is that? And so we really kind of wanted to take that aspect of him, and then, you know, his extending torso and the things that make him really unique, and kind of run with that in the character. And so that was kind of how that ultimate was born on that character. But that was actually one thing that we iterated on quite a bit. So we iterated on the extending torso and a few other abilities before we came up with what we ended up with.
Okay.
Which is good, yeah.
So knowing that, you know, kind of how his kit was, how did the affinities kind of play into that? And how do you kind of see the cards going into, you know, what type of strategy you picked your players kind of picking up with it?
So that was something else we were kind of excited about, was this will be our first ranger character that actually uses corruption. Yes. So he's going to be a corruption intellect based. So he's going to have some really fun cards to play with.
It was like the corrupting downstairs with the Ari and like the...
Exactly.
It was just like all the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, you have more access to lifesteal and corruption. There's cards like Trader's Touch, really synergistic with his kit. Oh, so yeah, a lot of interesting build strategies will come out of his kit and his card affinities.
So when you play him, where do you typically like position yourself, and how do you kind of play in a game? What's your ideal team comp with him, and where do you kind of see yourself playing with him?
So he can still be a very powerful like solo laner. He can you know, kind of run like a Murdoch almost, but doesn't have the same spread and utility that Murdoch does in terms of like keeping people off him. He doesn't have the same peel necessarily, but he excels in like a duo lane. So if he can have a powerful like control character with him, like the new supports that have just gotten beefy, he can be very powerful, because he has the advantage of locking players down, and then they can do the same thing. He can slow people down and keep them from getting away, while his support keeps them alive, and they just keep pumping damage onto a single target. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds like we're gonna run back some coiled decker.
Probably gonna be a thing. Yes. Yeah. We'll get you to account level 15 in no time.
Oh, 15.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for that milestone in my life. I'll get there.
Yeah, it should be pretty good though. Like, there's a lot of synergy with him and other heroes.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So was there a design inspiration you think, when you saw it, or was it just the concept art? Or did you...
Honestly, a big part was the concept art. Like there was a few pieces. Mike Kime, the concept artist, is going to speak later. He's a fantastic modeler. He actually did the model as well. But he along. I mean, it was a couple years ago, I think now. But just put up a few concept pieces of things that he would like to see eventually, and we took those concept pieces and just started spinning kits right away, like right away. Another artist we have, Zach, did the same thing, and that was actually how Grux was born. Grux was just a concept piece, and we went, oh, there's a kit on that guy. Like, this is what that guy would do. And the same thing happened with Grimm.
Okay.
That's such a cool thing to think about, is that this hero was concepted, and it was like, this is so cool, we have to make some awesome kit for this character because it has so much flavor.
Well, it's about the character. He bleeds character. Like, it just comes right through him, right? And a lot of times we're inspired by a single ability or something like, okay, this would be really, really cool to bring to the table on this character. And other times it's the concept art. It's like, okay, well, what cool things can we tie around this? And so he was one of the latter. So
So with Iggy, his synergies are between both the Scorch and himself, with the Molotovs, and then Scorch kind of sets him up. Grimm, and we saw a lot of people kind of commenting on this and feedback that we received initially from him. He's both a small insect and then the robot, the sentry robot. Was there ever a point in time where you guys were trying to figure out, okay, should Grimm actually do anything, or just let the robot take control?
Right, we definitely thought of different variations of his abilities that could do that kind of thing. We loved just the duo nature of these two, like the weird banter back and forth. We do have VO stuff upcoming, and I get to hear some of it. It's amazing.
Teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser there. But just hearing how characters interact with each other is just fantastic. And these guys were mostly just about the banter between the two and the interaction between the two, more so than the little imp doing its own things separate than him, because they're definitely a single unit.
That was actually one of the first things I heard when I first got here and I was seeing some of the early Grimm stuff. Was the back and forth between, it's like, is that little dude? And it's just like, oh, that's he's just not. Their relationship is like definitely interesting. Like, I can't wait for the sitcom to come out.
I mean,
the sitcom.
Yeah.
Okay, Mooney.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a thing. Okay.
I'd watch that. Yeah, sure. Why not?
So, Billy, before you head off and we get Mike and Scott on, is there anything that you kind of want to say to the community about Grimm? Any hopes that you guys kind of see with his play styles or anything like that?
With some of the unique aspects of his kit, I really love his Q ability, the one that knocks people back. There's going to be some really, really amazing plays that come out of that, synergized with other characters' abilities and stuff. Upcoming characters and that kind of thing too. But I really, really want to see some amazing plays specifically with this ultimate. I want to see people, shooting a Kalari when she's teleporting back to base and watching that projectile just get her. Get her. I just want to see it.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of fun plays that we've had playing downstairs.
Internally,
and there's just been some really, really cool moments that have come out of that. So I just want to see the community having fun with this guy, because there is a lot of potential there. So, yep.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Billy.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to have Mike and Scott up next. Mike Kime and Scott Kennedy. Mike is the modeler, concept artist on this one in this case, and Scott did the effects. So thanks a lot, Billy. We're going to swap you out.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Guys?
How you guys doing?
Good, how you doing?
Hey. All right. So, concept. So this is one of the first cases that we've had on stream where, Mike, the concept art really inspired the design team to kind of make a kit versus the other way around, where you get the design first and then the concept kind of builds off of that. So what for you when you were creating Grimm? What was the inspiration for you? Was it like just some weird idea that you've always had, or like, hey, this would be super cool if these two things came together?
Yeah, it kind of came from going around and talking to people and we're all fans of the kind of Master Blaster, like little guy and a big guy together. And I think it really started there, and I was talking with Jordan Walker, and when ideas just started going back and forth of, oh, this little guy that controls something, oh, it controls like a bot or some sort of golem or something of that type, and bouncing back and forth with how it would be powered, and he did like this little crank arm thing.
Right.
I just kind of saw it, started seeing it in my head of like, okay, it would be good to have high contrast between the two characters. So we've got this insidious little guy, and he's somehow gotten his little mitts on this high-end bot that is manufactured and just special and something that could be retooled for anything. Like it could be used for fixing stuff, or it could be like a war bot or something like that.
Right.
And he's gotten it through some sort of means. It could be, you know, just banging out some ideas. It could be that he won it in a raffle, or there was some sort of auction.
Right.
So these fat cats are sitting around going like, who is that? Somebody just won this. And he's like, I can do it now. Like I can win this. And so you've got this sort of charger to charge the thing up.
Or can we show some
That
of the
if,
concept for that?
The original. So this is the original concept, and you'll see some, it's changed and evolved over time. But this is the basics here of a charger that he has strapped up to himself, that it's normally supposed to be on the ground. You could just power him up, and he's rigged it all up, and he's sort of overpowering the bot and giving it more juice than it would need, like when you take a 9-volt battery and put it in something that needs, you know, double A's. So that's essentially what he's doing there. And he's got it ready to go for battle. A few things kind of changed over time that really kind of pushed his kit, making him more the insect-like. Which here you can see where Herman. So Herman Ing, who he's been on here before. He just pushed the character real far and really just set it off. So modernized it, took it to where it needed to be, and made it really cool. And then also Herman came in to match it to the kit. So when I was doing the original concept, I didn't even think about him cracking open into the ultimate and all that. So Herman and Chris Perno were a big part of, so what does he do with his ultimate? Let's really push it to where if you're going to have all these different panels on this guy, let's make them all move apart. Let's get him moving a lot.
Okay.
And then you can see with the little imp there, he's definitely leaning into him being this little nasty dude
So-
who has his own devices.
And
so.
the original concept, there were feathers, and you kind of
Yes.
wings, and we kind of talked a little bit about the transition from the feathered approach to the insect. Can you kind of talk to that a little bit?
In doing the contrast, I really wanted to push this like natural background meets sci-fi, like this hard-surfaced legit robot. But the wings are they're basically really big. They would cover up a lot of space, and they're something that's very difficult to kind of animate and deal with. Like how does he actually stay in tune with the robot if he's moving around and he's kind of doing this flapping thing?
Right.
And somebody mentioned like basically like a fly or an insect, and it was just instantly like, oh, that's going to do it. Like that is going to be very appealing visually and for technical constraints. And so creativity always comes out inside constraints.
Right.
Like
You
that.
almost kind of get like a sense of urgency as well from like the fluttering of like insect wings versus like the
Yes.
feathery wings. So it's like that urgency of like wanting to actually get the rope.
They could
Like,
snap
hey,
out
come
of
on,
the way
we
of
gotta go.
things,
Yeah,
and
right,
yeah,
right.
it worked out really
Okay.
great. So.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then we have some of the modeling, kind of getting to that. So you can see some of the wings and the general look. How did you kind of come to the more sinister, like jagged teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
like a bad dude.
yeah, that kind of followed through and then was pushed really well in the concept. Herman did like a breakout, and we had like a general idea of what these kind of creatures would look like. And then with the insect thing, it's just taking and pushing the teeth to being really jagged and nasty, trying to find a nice blend between what is essentially an imp mixed with sort of an insectoid, insect kind of thing. So the little hair stuff and the little thorny details on him. And then the eyes are essentially a honeycomb looking sort of thing. And they're not normal eyes, so we had to figure out, well, what would that look like? Kind of like a deep gem sort of look.
And then after that, I think we have the weapon itself.
So this is the weapon without the front shroud on it. kind of some of the details underneath, and that front shroud piece or shell can kind of move back and forth, and it's a multi-purpose weapon tool that arcs, power, and so this is just a.
I always love the way he held it too, where the way Grimm, Grimm holds the weapon like at the side here. Yeah, from the top, like that's.
Yeah, it's cool. The little like kind of pincher things, and like he's kind of holding it in a really weird way.
And then we have the battery power. What do we actually get? The charger.
Yeah, it's basically like a copper coil that he's spinning the thing and like powering it up, and there's. That's actually a 240, 230 power kind of connector, so it's real world things kind of mixed in. So the robot has a grounded feel where he's like otherworldly and he's really strange, and then you have this bot that has this grounded feel. So it's this crazy contraption, but it's still got this like power plug that would plug in. But he needs to be on the move with this thing, so he has it hooked up and leather straps like around it, and he has like a little pack that came with it that's strapped to his back, and he just powers it up until it starts arcing, and
it's nice.
So it's a
really
cool power
unit. Yeah, I really like that, and I never would have noticed the plug,
like normal plug down there.
Yeah,
that's really awesome. That's really awesome. And then I think we have some of the modeling for the robot itself. Now, we're going to go through a little bit of some technical stuff here. We're getting tight on time, but kind of talk us through, what type of modeling and approach you guys took towards this kind of like a lanky, like some of the arms and stuff look very different.
Kind of like segmented arms and stuff.
Yeah, so we want to preserve that look for the character, the corrugated arms and body parts. That can be really taxing on low poly. This character, one of the big challenges was getting poly counts to stretch nicely over the character. So just reworking over it and trying to get as much silhouette and shape and form out of that as possible. Because when you look at him, you see on the back here, you see the turban and you see the corrugated arms and stuff. So that was one of the challenges. And this here is my final kind of. This is where I kind of end. And it's like, this is with the normal maps on and in the engine showing it with the proper poly count. And
then we also have a video of the locomotion.
So here's some, okay, how do these legs work? Because they're crazy, right? So how are we going to make this whole thing work out? And it's good to kind of do pre-animations, and I'm not an animator at all.
Right.
I can do some really terrible cycles. And so the end looks a lot better than this, but this is good to show for getting the team behind, okay, this weird robot with a big upper body and small legs, like, can he run, can he do travel mode properly? So this is what I did as a basic, this is the worst that it would look. And this actually resulted in, there's some notches in the front of his leg there. So when I showed it to the animation team and the technical animators, they were telling me about how his thigh was kind of clipping. So there's a piece that rotates up into the front part of his leg. So I ended up going back through, re-notching out the front, which you can see on GRIM.exe's front leg right there, and notched it out, and then went and ran back through and showed it and got the thumbs up.
Okay. Okay. And I want to hop ahead a little bit to the gameplay video. We're going to talk to Scott a little bit about kind of making some of the animation come all together. So Scott, when you guys got this, or I'm sorry, the effects, when you guys got this and you kind of saw the hero, what type of things did you guys kind of put in your, some discussions around how you wanted the effects to look?
Right, so actually when we first saw him, and especially with the little concept of the guy generating, that connection point between the two, we initially kind of went with like electricity. So there was like these arcing bolts and electricity, and they kind of had this very sparky and spastic look to it at first, but we realized that was sort of kind of competing with some of Gadget's stuff and that kind of stuff. So we went back to the drawing board and we kind of looked at him, and he's like really slick and high tech. So we tried to like kind of calm some of that down and create sort of smoother shapes and stuff with his stuff. That connection beam ended up being this sort of subtle, like almost like this ethereal plasma thing. And that also helped with gameplay because then it's not in your face all the time. When it was
It's cool because you can kind of think of like that he just like was in such a rush to get this sentry ready to go for battle that he was just like, I'll just jimmy something together that'll work for the power.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's just like, no, but let's go, like gotta go fight.
So there's also this effect around the weapon itself. So it's actually during a couple of abilities, you will see like this kind of like a diamond shape around him. What was the idea behind that?
Okay, so with his kit, he's kind of complicated in the sense that he has all these gameplay states.
Right.
And so one of the challenges was trying to show the player and the person you're attacking that he's in these different states because the states do different things.
Right.
So the sort of targeting on his gun, kind of the same thing. Like he's this really high-end bot, so kind of that Iron Man-y, like hollow targeting kind of stuff showing up. And so that shows one of his states as well as his body sort of like folding out.
Yeah, totally. So for you, what do you guys feel like was either the most challenging thing to kind of display, or and two, the second one, which ability for him did you have the most fun kind of bringing to life?
Probably the most challenging thing was his basic attack, his left mouse. Because it has two different states, it was really hard at first, through the first few iterations, distinguishing the two. So like one looked almost too similar to the other. So as we went through, we ended up just sort of dialing up when he activates his E ability or whatever. Ended up dialing up the effect so that it's bigger, more pronounced, and so that you can actually tell that you're doing something different.
Okay.
And then as far as fun, I had the most fun working on his ultimate.
Nice.
So same kind of thing that Billy was saying. That was like you see this big core here, and you just imagine this, source of energy just swirling and building, and then just releasing.
Right.
And so that's kind of where that inspiration came from. There, it's just drawing in energy. The little guy's just revving them up, making them, like this thing might just rip apart at any moment,
right.
and then just releasing it all and doing massive damage. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, when I saw the ult for the first time, I like one of those sit back in your chair kind of moments.
Yeah.
Where you're just like,
yeah. So you like,
awesome.
we don't really have footage of it, but like it building his effect, that turbine in the back. If you watch it in slow mo, like in a replay and stuff, you'll actually see like jet engine is basically because it's exhausting all this heat out of the back of it and everything.
It's really cool.
Being overpowered.
Yeah.
And then the other ability is like his shield.
Yes.
Was there any, when you saw it, was there something? Was there like a state where it was either challenging to create, or was it pretty standard? Like, oh, it's going to look like this. You already had it kind of in your mind.
Well, sort of. I mean, like a bubble in these types of games is pretty common. There's sort of those types of bubbles. So what was difficult was coming up with the look that is unique to GRIM.exe. So like some of the inspirational images for that were like some of those like globes you touch that in science stores and that kind of thing. So if you look at the effect, you'll kind of see some
that
inspiration.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You kind of see a little energy arcing off of it a little bit too.
Yeah,
it's the pure power. Like, That's cool to like think about.
And then it was hard with that bubble too, because we wanted to, show that when you absorbed an ability or something, we had to make it really loud and obvious that like you blocked it, because it would feel pretty cheap if you're the other person and you were like Murdoch and you did your ult and you're like, why didn't you take any damage?
Yeah.
But if you see this big bong, like pop bubble, you'll be like, oh, okay, you blocked it.
Okay. Yeah, so, that's really cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.
We have about 10 minutes or so. We're going to talk to TripleWRECK and FizZoR, who are our guests.
Excellent.
Really appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Hopefully the stream enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You made it.
Yes. What's up, guys?
What's up?
How you doing? You guys ready?
Yeah.
We got about 10 minutes or so, and then you guys are
It
gonna
goes
go.
down.
Yeah.
Happens.
So I was kind of alluding to this a little bit. We talked about it a couple times, like you guys facing off when, we were talking about you guys coming out. You guys go a little ways back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to play a lot of Destiny,
Yep.
and so we became friends there. He was a streamer, I was a streamer, and we came out to the community event back in January for this game. That was the first time I got to play it. But I had seen the trailers and stuff. I'm like, this game looks cool. I'm not a MOBA person,
Right.
but I really got into Paragon, and so I've been playing this nonstop. And so yeah, it's been pretty dang awesome.
It's good. So is Paragon for both of you first MOBA?
I played League of Legends before
Did you?
this for about 2-3 years, but
Great game.
it wasn't like my main game. I just played it on the side kind of thing.
Right.
But Paragon was the first time I really was really interested in a MOBA because a lot of my background was like FPS.
Yep.
So to be able to combine the feel of a MOBA with a shooter kind of feel was awesome.
What drew you to a MOBA, like versus?
Well, I played a little bit of League,
Right.
and I enjoy the MOBA like gameplay and depth and strategy and all that stuff, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm so used to playing shooters and stuff that
Right,
it
right.
just like the gameplay itself like didn't click for me.
Totally.
And then the fact that Paragon is like completely 3D, whereas there's some other MOBAs out there like Smite that they're third person, but it just doesn't kind of take advantage of what a fully 3D game can have. So that's what kind of brought me into this. So some of that basic shooter skill can translate,
Right.
but even if you don't like playing that, you can do like this melee characters, supports and
Right.
stuff. So
I mean, I remember your guys' first game. You're picking it up pretty quickly. So.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, I
I was
remember.
getting dumped on.
Yeah, we were trying to
Yeah,
walk
like,
through.
But
Yeah.
but it's like you're still having fun because like you appreciate the game, and even though you're not good at it, you're still trying to learn from your mistakes and
Right,
get better.
you're
And,
downloading.
I have like
You
so
get
many hours in the
information.
game, and I'm still bad. So I'm still.
So the funny
I'm
thing-
still enjoying it though.
Both of you guys are like pretty high MMR players, essentially. I've checked out the stats on both of you. I know Fizz is really up there because he plays quite a bit.
Thank
But you guys recently released a strategy video.
Yes.
I know you guys typically roll with either 4 or 5. If you're playing together.
It's
Depends on who's on and what's going on.
Because like we don't have like a
It's
lot of friends on this game, so we've had to like kind of start
Start.
from scratch, like
Gotcha.
meet new people. Like
Right.
a lot of the people we play with, we just met matchmaking, and we're like, hey, you're
Wanna
good.
play?
Do you want to hang
Yes.
out? And so it's kind of gone from there. And matchmaking can be kind of frustrating in the early state, but it's been really fun to kind of learn different heroes, synergize, and come up with some of those strats. Talking to other players and see what they're doing, and they're like, hey, we tried this the other day, and this was working, and so you could try that, and kind of go back and forth and
Right.
leapfrog these ideas. It's pretty fun.
So roles for both of you when you guys are playing together, who plays what?
Let's get down to brass.
So I'm usually on like an 80 carry, and then Fizz can play pretty much anything. He's Gideon main.
Yeah, I like playing a lot of Gideon, but I'll usually hop on whatever we need, whatever feels best to, whether we're searching in 3 or 4 people. Like, hey, maybe we need a support or a tank or whatever.
So you're the multi-purpose man.
I can.
The Swiss
Army
Army
hop
knife
around.
per se.
Yes.
He's a Swiss Army knife of the team.
So I'd much rather be that than feel like, hey, I'm
got
on
a
my
mean Iggy.
character.
He's a mean Iggy.
Mean Iggy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, we saw some of your Iggy play with one of the videos you guys put out. I don't think we don't have the link here, and we'll probably drop it in chat is what I'll do. But you guys kind of went through and did a little bit of high-level play with some creep blocking or minion blocking to kind of work in your strategy on how you want to approach a lane, which we thought was
Managing the
really
map.
fascinating. I think we actually have that put up in the launcher. And there's the video. We just dropped it in chat for those that want to check it out. So in terms of when you guys got started on Twitch, how did you guys kind of both start there? What was the reasoning behind you guys hopping over on Twitch?
Streaming in general.
Yeah.
It started way back for me. I started streaming Halo Reach, and
Okay.
there wasn't streaming was getting there, but it's definitely not where it was now. So I don't know. I one day I learned I can plug my Xbox into my computer and people can watch me play, and I started there, and then it developed into like wanting to just get better and perfect my own abilities, because you know, when you're playing off stream or anything, you can be like, oh, like you could just put excuses, right? But now people are watching you play. You can't make up those excuses. You have
Right.
So it made me want to fine tune everything, and then
Right.
I just like helping other people get better, and then sharing my own experiences with it. And it's been going ever since. So I really love it.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. You know, I did some YouTube, which kind of happened by accident. I didn't even really mean to. I was doing it for like, as I've told the story before, but I was playing a game, and the spawn system was really kind of in a bad state.
Right.
And so I got a capture card so I could make some videos and show the developer and hopefully, you know, bring it to their attention and stuff. But then I started just kind of messing around, making some highlights and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is really fun. I like making videos. And then, you know, when Twitch came along, it's like, okay, you have the interaction and that live format really appealed to me.
Right.
And so that sense of community is much better, and it's easier. And I'm a lazy person. I don't even stream that much these days, so I gotta work on that. But yeah, it's a cool part for, you know, like myself. I like watching streams to learn. So
Right.
So especially if you know, Overwatch beta came out, so I was watching some streams for that. I'm like, okay, so you know, what are these good players playing, and what's some strats,
Yep.
and so I kind of appreciate that. And so when I stream, I try to kind of integrate some of that, try to answer as many questions as possible, and so I think that educational aspect is kind of.
Kind of passing the torch where you learn from like watching streams.
And sometimes you just want to chill and hang
Yep,
out.
watch,
Nice,
hang out,
naturally.
get to know the community. I know I saw both of you guys in and out of different streams. This past weekend or weekend before, I know Triple was in watching the Agora Rising 2 tournament, and so you know we got to see a lot of fantastic play from there. And if you guys haven't watched any of the community tournaments, I really highly advise doing it. There's a lot of great players out
Exciting.
there. But we got to see some excellent Decker play.
Yeah, inspirational.
Yes.
Play.
As a matter of fact, that was
Voice.
Boise.
Yes.
I think
that sounds right.
Sounds right. Anyway, shout out to him because right after I saw his play, I went in immediately and I was like playing some
Oh yeah,
Decker.
no,
again.
I
So it
played
was
Decker
like,
the other day.
oh God, I
Yeah.
gotta play some Decker. So you know, Triple, I know you were in there talking quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it kind of relates to exactly what you said. Hey, you see some play, you learn a couple things, and then you try to figure out how you can apply that to your game.
Right,
And highly encourage, you know, checking out any of the community events and tournaments and stuff like that, because you get to see a lot of that stuff right before your eyes. So you guys have any questions for us? You know, what are you guys thinking about? What do you guys want to know? Burning questions.
Well, I mean, I know for a lot of people that I play with and stuff, matchmaking is always kind of a topic
Big
of
topic.
discussion.
Yep.
So what can you tell us? I mean, I know you made some tweaks this past week, and you know there's going to be short-term stuff, mid-term, and then you know the long-term stuff. So what can we look forward to? Kind of, you know, maybe is there anything in this next patch, or maybe like the week after that you could talk about?
So one of the first changes that we made to matchmaking to try to help with queue times a little bit as we start scaling up was we removed the back button.
Right.
And we know that it's not a solution that we want it to be long term, but in the interim we were trying to bring down queue times because we saw that there was a high rate of people kind of backing out before Matchmaker actually got to do its thing. The next thing that we did with the first stress test weekend, so if you're coming from the stress test, thank you so much. We learned a lot, and we're still learning a lot from that.
Please, let us know if you have any feedback as well. Head to the feedback forums. We are listening. We're in there.
So big, huge influx of new players coming in, getting mixed up with a lot of more of our experienced players, and it's not always a great ideal situation when that happens. So one of the things that we did was we refactored the MMRs and reseeded them, and then we pushed it out for our second stress test. And what we did was we increased the length that the matchmaker would look for quality players to find a match. So we're still looking through the data for that, but that increased, queue time. So we had a lot of, feedback for players that were kind of concerned about the queue times. Hey, I've been waiting a long time. I got into a match and then someone quit.
Right.
My player's experience sucks. So, we're trying to really work on the core fundamentals of improving matchmaking, but also improving, once you get into the match,
Doing a quality match.
make sure it's a quality match. Make sure you have a great experience. That's a really, really big priority for us right now. In terms of what people can look forward to in the future, we kind of prioritized, as of right now, you'll get to see more information about this soon, trying to get in some type of draft so that players can come into a lobby, select their heroes, and then move on to their match after they've selected their heroes. So you kind of get the defined roles of what's going on and kind of some communication.
Have, the 5 melees anymore.
5 melees. It's
I mean, you could discuss that strat. That could be a strat you discuss.
If we had all chat, we could probably say, hey guys, we have all melees. We're just gonna run mid lane and then have like a big brawl. But you can't do that. But so yeah, I mean, we are definitely aware of a lot of pain points for the community, and we're working very fast to get all of those things kind of fast tracked and complete.
Like the past 2 stress test weekends have been eye-opening in terms of getting feedback and actually learning from the community what we can improve specifically.
Yeah.
And getting a lot of that feedback has helped us in the process of thinking how are we going to do this? How are we going to implement this? How will people feel about these changes as we go along the road? And just kind of making sure we attack it in the right areas.
Sure. All right. Well.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't really have like a question, but one of the things that's just impressed me is like every time there's a new patch, at Triple and I play a lot, so obviously character balance is something we're always like, oh, we need this in the next patch, but it eventually gets worked on and looked at, and I know that takes time too, but nonetheless, it's impressive to see even just the artwork change or whatever you guys do decide to change. I really have liked the changes so far, and that was something that even after the first community event, we were playing in the OTs, and that was something Triple and I were always saying is, you log in next week and you're like, whoa, like
what's different, right?
Yeah. So, and I got to see the new patch, downstairs for a little bit, and it looks good. It's like
a lot of changes in there.
Yeah, I like the card thing that you guys got going on there, and even just some of the art changes too is cool. So
you guys will be able to show off some of that stuff here very shortly. We're gonna have you guys walk down there. Any more questions that you guys have? I know there's probably some burning desire questions that you have.
Your deepest, darkest.
Rampage.
Rampage.
Yeah.
Rampage. So we, Kevin Abbott talked about him a little bit on the AMA.
Right.
We have a tank pass coming. That'll include FizZoR, Steel, and Rampage. We definitely understand a lot of pain points for people who are tower diving for Rampage, stuff like that. Possibly his escape. I don't know the exact changes yet, but he will be worked on shortly following our patch that comes out tomorrow. Update that comes out tomorrow.
Awesome. I guess as far as a question, like, are you guys looking at the current jungle setup and OP buff included in that, and what do you guys think? Are moving along in a direction that you feel is better for the game that way?
So I think over the course of the next month or so, you guys will start to see changes to the jungle, more definition around hero roles, minion lanes and how they're doing damage, how you're able to last at them. The jungle is one where there's 2 things I think the team is looking at right now: card power sharing, and basically, I don't know if difficulty is a part of that, but some of the camps difficulty, the Prime War boss, right? Things like that.
Like the first.
the gummy bear boss.
The gummy bear boss, yes.
I like how that's persisted. Like I thought, I was like, oh, that's just a name. That's fine.
Thank you.
It just persisted over the course of time.
Never change them.
It started off though at the community event. I want to say someone called him the Purple Rhino, and then it evolved into the Purple Gummy Bear, which is totally fine. I don't know if that name will ever not stick.
I mean,
is that a hint at his final art?
No, it's not at all. He looks nothing like either of those 2
April
things.
Fools next day. Just make
I'm
actual
actually
purple gummy bear
I'm
for
actually,
one day.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping that we get to show off some of the art that that we've been shown for the concept art, at least for the jungle here soon, because there are changes coming, and I think that the closer the changes get to being finalized, the sooner we'll be able to kind of roll out some art and what the direction the team wants to take.
I actually have a question that so something I always kind of wondered is, do you guys ever think about doing a like a theme for the map? You know, like winter time, like a snow theme, or
Jordan kind of touched on that.
Something like that. I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's definitely cool. Like, I know our, Jordan Walker, leader, he was on, like, the AMA stream. I don't know if you guys got that, but he kind of talked about, day and night cycles. People, like, were asking about weather and some of the other, like, changes to the map. And a lot of that, I think they thought were, our ideas, like, of course, they were thinking about, like, oh, what are some cool things we could do to the map? Like, this is a really beautiful map that we put a lot of time into. What can we do to it? I think it's more just figuring out and optimizing the map now, like that we have, and then like looking to the future, what potentially could we do, and just kind of getting all the ideas that people have.
I do feel like that's like an icing on the cake kind of thing. But I don't know, like a
make sure the cake's delicious before you put the icing on.
Like a nighttime with like glow through the jungle kind of thing would be cool.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to make sure you guys can get downstairs and get ready to play. If you're watching, stay tuned. We're gonna host up TripleWRECK, and then we're going to host, an hour later, we're going to host FizZoR on their channels. They're going to head downstairs to our Coliseum. You guys will get to watch 2 hours of the new build, including GRIM.exe gameplay from both of these guys. Appreciate you guys coming on. I'll be down to talk to you, and probably have a couple of different people rotating with you guys to talk some more, answer questions about the game and stuff. So appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much for having us out.
Yeah,
thanks.
All right. Yeah, it's fun. See you guys here in a bit.
All right.
All right.
See you down there.
Stage left.
Yep. All right. Mooney and I will answer some questions from the chat.
From the chat, all up in this chat.
Mooney.
All up in this chat.
What am I gonna do with Mooney? So we are watching the chat. Just want to make sure that we can see it. First off, we have some codes going for the folks that are watching right now from some of the folks on the community team, putting in codes for folks. New game modes or maps. That is from Courtesy.
Yes.
I'm gonna say that.
You're like the name god, remember?
Yeah,
You
you
were
were
amazing
struggling.
at it. I struggled on one. There was one I struggled on.
There was more than one.
No, there was like one that I got.
No, I
called out
rewatched
on.
all of
No,
it.
Nick called me out on that one.
Okay, he called you out on one, but you had about 5.
At least I got horny, ungodly horny priest, right?
Yeah, you did.
That was the important one.
The one that was, I want to say it was like Mad Sticks or Mad something. Sticks.
It was like something where it was like a word.
You were like,
normally.
I get it.
Yeah,
Totally.
I realized it. Yeah.
Anyway, new game modes, maps. We're really prioritizing the map that you guys have, that you guys see right now. There's a possibility that we'll have more maps and modes in the future, but right now we're definitely focused on one. These questions are flooding in.
I saw the card crafting one.
Any new info on card crafting?
That's like, I mean, it's a work in progress. We gotta like make sure we put work into it, make sure we implement it correctly.
Yeah.
So definitely coming. We've talked about it like several times. So hang in there. Working on it.
Character voices when they move or attack. We will work on character voices. They are not, as of right now, they're not set up to any of the heroes. So it is something that we'll have in the future. But in the meantime, it is not something that we can easily put into the game. Right. Will there ever be, this is from Holtzman, will there ever be anything done with duplicate cards, selling, dismantling to craft more? So
that would be associated with the craft
system. Don't necessarily know how that's going to work, but it sounds sounds like that we're leaning
generally
more towards
in that direction.
Duplicate cards, I don't necessarily think that we have anything planned to stop someone from putting on for wind carver blades.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I think that's gonna be more of like a preference.
How do you
more
want
of
to
a
play?
Preference thing? Like, hey, I don't want 2 of these. I'm gonna trade it out for something else.
And I think if we see there's a pattern of when people play that there's only one build that people are, the community is kind of adopted. I think we'll kind of look at data to analyze how players are playing and then make adjustments. So that's not the optimal way to play. But we're not restricting people to, play with one of each type of card at all. In-game voice chat. This is something that Steve talked about a little bit.
Yeah, I think
Popular request.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we're aware of like people asking for it, but
Yep.
it's one of those future things where we want to make sure that we tackle some of the problems we're working on right now, community surfacing. But it's definitely one of those things coming in the future. If you check out the AMA, a lot of the questions like people generally will ask like the voice comm stuff, asking about like improvements to various communication methods. Like these are things we're working on, like making sure that people can communicate with their teammates. It's important to us. It's definitely there. Like your voices are heard. I'm here listening.
You are.
I'm here.
You are. Do you guys plan on changing the minion choke points in the side lanes, creating a short and long lane like in other MOBAs? There's been a little bit of discussion around, changing minion behavior in general. Proxying waves is, I don't think it's necessarily been a part of that discussion, more so than just like how do we want minions to behave.
Right, like moving around in other lanes.
Some of the things that we've talked about are increasing their damage output so that they're a lot more lethal when you as a hero or player come in, you're level 1 and you can just wreck the minions rather than them being more of a safety net. I think like a lot of people are probably used to. The other thing we've talked about is making last hits more predictable. Not necessarily easier, but at least more predictable. So you might see some changes to minion behavior there. So hopefully that answers your question, Smug Shooter. AI bots for AFK DCs and casual games. AI improvements, no more bots rushing towers. Mully Magic, we talked... actually, we haven't talked a lot about AI improvements. That's one of those things that's under constant iteration from the dev team, and when there's like breakthrough in how they want a certain hero to behave or a class type to behave, you'll see kind of incremental improvements over time. In terms of when you AFK or DC, we've talked about a bot kind of walking you back to base.
So you're not just standing there.
Yeah.
I mean, to that extent, that's like what we were looking at in terms of bot improvements. It would just be based on like, hey, I've been playing some co-op versus AI. This is what I saw bots do, and then we kind of get the feedback from you guys.
A question from Narinder. Any chance you're going to include greater drains in the standard cards everyone has? They're crucial for carries. So there's going to be some changes to the way cards are acquired. When we see TripleWRECK and FizZoR downstairs streaming, we'll be able to take a look at how they're playing, and you'll be able to see some of the changes to the card system and how you can acquire cards. I don't necessarily know the plans for starter decks in terms of having those cards available, but it's obviously something that I think we'll continue to evaluate. But there's no immediate change as of right now to that.
Right. Any plan changes for the 30? Like we said, with regards to the question, Renegade's Foo has about 30 to 40 minute long queue times. Like the matchmaking changes like we're working on are obviously a work in progress. Like we know they're not perfect, but we're going to try and make sure that we iterate upon them to improve it for you guys. It should kind of create a better experience. Like the idea was with the tweaks was to increase like quality of gameplay, like help out with that. So just kind of hang in there. We're going to be working on it, and giving us feedback on that is the best way for us to learn. Like a lot of this weekend, getting back feedback on people who are experiencing times like situationally what was going on was just very helpful. Like all of that's helpful in the process.
Have you thought about having Gadget have 2 bombs active on her queue, and if you land both bombs, the stasis bomb on the same target, the detonate immediately? I think that would be great for her. Now, we actually released the release notes. I'll go ahead and drop those in the chat. There are some changes to her stasis bomb where you'll see that it's a little bit more, I think it'll have a little bit more utility and usefulness in combat. So the immediate change as of right now is that with their stasis bomb, if she hits in the AoE that occurs, anyone in that AoE cone will also get stunned now. So
it kind of helps out.
I don't necessarily think we'll go to 2 of those, but as of right now, it is noticeably impactful in gameplay.
With the I think with the shared card XP changes, it would just be based on like how we look over time, like testing the iterations and seeing how they work out before we address any changes on that. But that's a future thing down the line that we'd kind of work on over the coming weeks, months, and just make sure that we do that properly.
Let's see. We have another question from Daedros27. Are there any changes to mage ratios being considered to put them in more line with carries? Well, first, I think there's a couple things to consider, and this is important, I think, with any MOBA. One is that we want heroes to have clear, defined roles.
Right.
Right. So
What
the
they can
ratios that
accomplish, what they
are
excel at.
for carries don't necessarily mean that they are the roles that are going to be applied to mages or lane pushers or crowds, CC
Right.
mages. So that's one thing to consider as we move forward. You'll try to see the design team, and then they talked a little bit about this on the AMA.
It's where the different heroes fall in terms of like what they excel at, what they'd
Right.
be able to really, what their actual reason for picking that hero in that game is. Like,
Right.
oh, I want to have Gideon in this lane to hold this lane or push this wave up. Just specific things versus what carries accomplish, and making sure that we, ride that line and balance the heroes
Yeah.
as we see fit based
So
on that.
you will see us continue to iterate on all classes over time, but the important thing to consider is that we still want there to be very clear defined roles for heroes so that when you pick a specific hero, you know what you want to do. Not every hero is meant to do everything. I think in some cases, I think Kevin talked about some of the carries having
Right.
too much weight and being able to do the lane pushing and the
Right, yeah.
damage and the taking down tower. So it's more about getting everything in line and kind of how we want players to play out in those roles rather than bringing everybody up to do the same thing. It becomes kind of a homogenous experience at that point. Let's see here. What is the point of locking allies in the south? That's not a question. Kalari alt kind of weird to aim. How can you make it easier? I don't know if there's any plans for Kalari. I have to talk to some of the designers before we get some information on that. Definitely has been into the discussion a little bit.
Yeah, if you have any recommendations on like improvements, like you personally am playing Kalari and you're like, wow, if the aiming was a little bit more like this, I feel like it would be better. The feedback forums would be the best place to just let us know what you think would work out. That's honestly the way that any changes would be made is like giving us feedback like, hey, I play Kalari a lot. I feel like the ultimate targeting could be like this to be a little bit more helpful for me to land the ultimate. We need feedback is how we get to that point.
Right now we're just waiting to see when FizZoR and TripleWRECK will be live, guys. We'll continue answering some questions up until that point in time. Can we put on some of the Grimm B-roll in the meantime as well while we're answering these? Iggy and Scorch are pretty good. Is there any way you can put his 2 turrets to 2 hits to die? I talked about it Mud, a little bit on the stream. Someone asked a very similar question. As of right now, they want it to be efficient. I think we'll continue to look at kind of how players approach it, like two
Right.
heroes are targeting, and then it goes down and
Right, you gotta
really
look at it.
quickly.
You gotta look at it in terms of like what scenarios would a hero be attacking this in? Like, how would this turn out? Like, how is the initial fight for Iggy? Like over the course, like when would you be using the turrets versus when he would be defending them in lane? How they push the lane?
Konos reckon you will add weather, so one game can be sunny, another stormy, another has snowing. Yeah, weather comes up quite a bit.
Yeah.
We talked about that not too long ago. It is something that we're interested in doing for sure. But it's more about timing.
Yeah.
When is that? When do we see that being?
Like FizZoR brought up, like making sure the cake's good enough to put the frosting on.
Yep.
It's a good metaphor. Actually, it's a pretty good metaphors. Do you want to hear about my metaphors?
Sure. Tell me about one of your metaphors.
When I described cards, I talked about it being like a pizza. Where you have your equipment card, which is the dough, and then the upgrades are the toppings. So you like put the upgrades on the dough, like the equipment cards, to make a pizza.
Okay. I can roll with that.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't put upgrades in, you just like you have just a pizza thing. If you like bread, that's fine.
Any Unreal Tournament references in the final game? Gun, maps, heroes? That's a really good question. We're working on a lot of stuff. I think there's an opportunity to always for us to integrate more of our IPs. Right now, we're really trying to establish the identity of Paragon. So, sure, that might be something that comes down in the future, but we've not made any plans as of right now to incorporate any of our other IPs. why are you guys waiting so long on fixing Rampage? So, you know, I think there's a couple things to consider. One, first off, we go about balancing in kind of waves, more like thematic passes. So supports, tanks. We actually started this back with Rangers.
Yeah,
right?
that was like that was
OT8.
Yeah, it was like near the end of OT's beginning
It's
of
like
Avalanche's.
OT8. Then we went on to fighters.
Yeah,
And now we're doing supports,
and
then tanks, and then we'll probably come back around to some more of the casters and rangers and whatnot. One of the reasons that we're able to do that is because our roster size is not that large. So when we make a pass for a specific group, it affects like 4 or 5 heroes in some cases in those
that'll affect the game a lot too.
The other thing is, we try to be as responsible as we can about balancing. One of the things that we would hate to do is not look at our data, and in addition to community feedback, and make adjustments based only on kind of gut feeling versus what the data is actually showing. So sometimes that data takes longer to analyze than others. There's also things like, for example, the movement speed change, which affected a lot of things in terms of balance and gameplay. So those are all things to consider. But we're definitely listening. It's definitely on our radar. And the same people that are designing and balancing gameplay are also working on new heroes. It's a delicate balance between a lot of factors, but we are always listening, and we're trying our very best to make sure changes come in a pretty regular fashion.
I wanted to address a question I saw. It was asking about a report button. We actually do have the functionality, and if you head up to the drop-down menu in the main screen when you load up the game from the launcher, you hit the drop-down menu, it'll have a report player button. You can hit that and kind of fill out that sheet, hit report, and it'll send it off to us. So if you didn't actually know that exists, that's in there. You should check that out. Let's see.
Answer some of these.
Any plans on adding a mute to Kalari's dagger? I assume you mean the sound that Kalari makes when she throws the dagger. Yeah, I mean, any changes would be based off of community feedback, but we want to make sure that we keep the identity of the hero, and it would be based off of looking at the data we get, looking at feedback, win rates, all of that takes into account when we're balancing heroes and making changes.
Alright, so Triple is now up live, ready to go.
Yes, it looks like that is the thing.
So we can go ahead and fade out, bring us back. Hopefully we've answered quite a few questions during this this period. We're about to go ahead and host up TripleWRECK. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. If you guys want to see some gameplay of GRIM.exe, we will have that going here momentarily. I believe Triple is going to walk through some of the new changes that are in the build. I'm not sure if he's going to go into the store or profile or whatever, but you guys will be able to check those out. And again, really appreciate everybody stopping by. Make sure you follow us here on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, all those places, everywhere social. We are, again, very adamantly and diligently trying to look through everyone's feedback, communicate with you guys about what's coming up. A lot of changes are coming up, and we hope you guys enjoy it, but we will see you guys next time.
Yeah.